Thank you very much, dear Emilia, Excellencies, distinguished UCLG delegates and partners. Thanks for your words, and I would like first of all to open by commending the very strong pro-public and pro-public service messages that I've heard here today. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to contribute to this World Assembly of Local and Regional Governments here at the 11th World Urban Forum in Katowice on behalf of our constituency, Public Services International Global Union. We represent over 30 million workers in public services worldwide, and their majority are from local and regional government services. That means that our members are your employees, and 2/3 of those are women. They are those who bring care to your community. They are the nurses who had to be in the front lines and in the trenches of COVID. They are the firefighters and the emergency responders who have to run when everyone else has to go away because climate-induced extreme weather events are striking, and when there's war and strife on the ground. So there's so many of these local government professions, hundreds of them. You know that very well, and they make the wealth and the rich diversity of our public services at a local level. Our members, your employees, are those who implement global, national, and local policy frameworks on the ground, the new urban agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals, but also the Sendai Protocol and the COP agreements with their hands, with their brains, but also with their hearts, with a strong commitment to public policy, to public institutions, and to their communities. But there's one global policy framework that we hardly hear about, including in UN Habitat, although this was enclosed as a transformative commitment in the new urban agenda, and that is the commitment to decent work as intended by the International Labour Organization. Indeed, and you know that all too well, the lack of adequate funding and the devolution of competences to local governments without adequate funding is taking a toll not only on local government services, but on the workers who deliver those services themselves. Many of them work in extremely difficult conditions. They lack the working tools and the vocational training to deliver quality public services everywhere, anywhere, so that we can fight inequality together, we can fight the climate crisis, we can stop conflict and warfare, and we can create the bedrock for peace. But as we convene here together with you, local authorities from the world, we feel as a Public Service Workers Union that there's a huge opportunity to work together even more so after the terrible experience we've lived together through COVID. And this is because on the front lines, we are together. It's you with policies, it's us delivering those policies and servicing the community on the ground. So when we come together through constructive social dialogue, we can be much stronger, much more effective to making sure that local government has what it needs to deliver and to beat the challenges of our time. So as I read the background paper of the World Urban Forum 11, I also read that there's a need to move away radically from unsustainable practices, that there's a need to look back and correct the mistakes of the past. And in our view, and I've heard it today, one of the key mistakes has been and continues to be the commercialization of life-saving public services that are overwhelmingly delivered on the ground by local government and by your employees. The privatization and the commercialization, blended finance, public-private partnerships of health, of care, of water, of electricities are failing the Sustainable Development Goals and are becoming the obstacle to the implementation of the transformative commitment of the new urban agenda. Our members in privatized services have to work in precarious conditions. They have often 0-hour employment contracts. They are overwhelmingly exposed to lack of social security and lack of training. But together we can redress and fix this and reclaim local public services in the common interest on a public goods approach by deprivatizing them and by changing the course of things. Since we are here to propose actions, I would really like to propose 3 points that are going to take our partnership and dialogue further, dear Emilia and dear colleagues and representatives of UCLG. We have a joint declaration on continued service delivery at times of COVID, and that has been absolutely critical for our membership on the ground by encouraging them to engage in dialogue with authorities to ensure that the services can continue to be delivered in sufficient quality, equitably, and in a way that it is safe for both workers and users. But to do that, we can go further. We must work together locally, continentally, and globally to demand 3 things. First of all, and I've heard it again, adequate funding for local government services, including investment in infrastructure, public investment, but also inadequate staffing. Colleagues and partners, we hear so often about packages for the post-COVID recovery that foresee the building of infrastructure, but no provision for working people. In Italy, 20,000 creche education primary school workers are missing, yet the government is only investing in building creche, but not in hiring the workers who have to provide that service. And we would like to look at new innovative ways of funding public services with you. For example, revaluing the role of local and municipal public banks and finding new ways to keep public procurement, which is huge at the subnational level, in the territory so that it can come back and fuel public municipal finances by keeping it in the community. Second, we want to work with you to stop the disappearance of local public services, the desertification of territories. And this is something that, for instance, our affiliate Unison is doing, working with your member, Local Government Association in the UK. We can reclaim together by remunicipalizing and deprivatizing vital local public services. There is a global database that shows that today 1,582 municipalities have brought public local services back into their realm because it's cheaper and it's more effective than having them outsourced. We can do that together more and more. And last proposal, we as trade unions in public services, we absolutely support the inclusion of local government authorities and constituencies in the multilateral system, and we want to support you in the advocacy for its democratization. We've already supported you in the inclusion of UCLG in the UN Water Board, and we continue to advocate relentlessly for the key role that UCLG and local authorities play at the International Labour Organization. Thank you very much for this space, and we hope we can continue to work together even more so than ever. Thanks.